Hey guys, this is Jake and I am your Tuesday host on Starting Out Solitary. Now today we're going to be talking about active magic versus passive magic. And Wisps and Whimsy writes, passive magic versus active. For instance, using certain plants around your home for their protective properties, or choosing to do things at certain times of the month, season, so that you're working in tune with nature's rhythms. Can you fail at these sorts of magical workings, or are they successful because you're working along with something greater than your own power? Now, the way that I see this is, imagine that. I'm going to be using a lot of rune examples today. First off, let's go ahead and look at the dictionary definitions of active and then passive. Active is involving physical effort and action, being in a state of existence, progress, or motion. So that's active. And now passive, not participating readily or actively, not participating readily or actively, not involving visible reaction or active participation. Okay, so when it comes to active magic versus passive magic, I usually think of this in the form of active defense and passive defense, especially when doing wards or doing bind runes or anything like that. And let me say this first. I see active magic as something that is constantly in motion, constantly going, constantly creating a result or a reaction. Now, I see passive magic as something that kind of takes a step back, and it's kind of like a wall. Okay? Imagine this, if you will. Passive magic, especially in the form of defense, I see as just a giant wall. Active magic is when you start adding spikes to the wall and, all the cool, fun stuff. So, and that's in the form of defense. Now, in healing magic, I guess a lot of people would say that active magic is when you are fixing it right then and there, and passive magic would be something to prevent further illness. That's at least how I would look at it. Now if you're trying to get a result in like a money spell or something like that, if you were to word the phrase or create something that gives you money, I would say within 3 days, which is pretty damn immediate, that's active. And if you're trying to put a spell, use a binding spell, especially for yourself, that's okay. You know what? Even if you have a family member, I don't want them spending money, I don't need to be spending money, so I'm going to put that binding on myself. That's a little more passive. So when it comes to runes, these are the two runes that I see as an active defense and a passive defense. And the first one is, sorry, let me pull this up here. The first one I'm going to pull up is the third rune in the first ad. And, actually let me flip that over for you. Okay. This is Thurisaz. And Thurisaz is Mjolnir. Its literal translation is the thorn. So the way I like to imagine this rune, especially in the form of active defense, is imagine if you put a wall up of nothing but thorns facing outward. Now if something runs into that, it's going to create a reaction because it's going to inflict whatever sort of effect, mostly harmful, to that entity or person, or that person's will or intent, whatever you're defending against. It's going to actively combat that. Now, it is not a passive rune in the way that it is constantly, the spikes are going to constantly be there. It's going to constantly be working. Now, the other rune, I'm sorry, I know this is a little bit rude of me, but ignore my tablet cover, by the way, too. I understand it's very pretty. My passive defensive rune is Algi's, and it is the 8th rune of the second aid. And, wait, no. That's not right. It's in the second aid. Details for later. So, either way, Algi's. This is the shield. That is its translation. Now, Algi's, if you compare it to Thurisaz, that would be having the wall and taking away the thorns. So, it's a very passive form of magic. It's always going to be there. So how I would use that is, let's say I have a neighbor that's not so friendly, and I want them every single time they even think about coming up to my doorstep, if they did, that would combat against that. I would use SOS. Now, if I just wanted to put up a block on all my doors and windows, which I do, I would use Algies. And Algies is that passive defense. It's literally just hitting the wall. Now, if you will, another great thing you can do for active and passive magic is to go ahead and create a bind rune. And this is what a bind rune, I'm sorry, well, it should be facing the other way, but the camera's opposite. Here we have Algies, and then here we have SOS. So it's a good thing because you're getting that passive and active defense. Now, there's some other protection runes that I won't go into just yet, believe me. I'm having it all planned out to do on my private channel, series of protection runes, just runes in general. So we'll see what comes with that. But for now, that's how I see active and passive magic. Active is always creating a result or doing something in an immediate sense. Passive magic is something that's always there, taking a step back, but is still creating the effect. So that's how I see it. Let me know how you guys feel about everything that's been said here, and I always love hearing from you guys. Get a lot of great feedback, which I really appreciate. And don't forget, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Head over to our Facebook, check that out. And as always, until next time, may Odin be with you.